Hello. Today I wanted to talk about consistency. Consistency is kind of universal in the sense that anything we work hard at, we work at long enough, we will probably get. Okay. But in business and also in tutoring business, consistency is something that kind of separates business owners because it's often that I'm like this as well. It's like I see something, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I want to do it. And then I do it for a while, and then I'm like, well, it doesn't really work, or I think it doesn't work because I do not see the immediate results. And then I'm like, well, maybe it's not a good thing, or maybe I'm not doing it right, whatever reason, and then I stop it. And the same is when you either start a business or when you're even in the business, you have to be consistent. That means that you have to be consistent in many things because often as tutors, we are, the only person, right? So that means we are doing the tutoring, we're signing up people, we're doing the invoices, we are prepping for the lessons, we are organizing other things around it, we do everything. And obviously, because of that, because we might also have family, we might also have a place we need to clean and we need to go shopping and all the rest. There are some things that kind of get put on the back burner. Okay. But we need to make sure that the things that are put on the back burner are not the essential things for our business. And then the things that we do need to do, that we make them consistent. Because there are some things that we need to do, and any business owner really needs to do in order to ensure that the business continues. And often I have seen, at least in the tutoring world, is that the right things are not being prioritized. And these right things are not being created consistently enough. Okay. So let's take basic marketing essentials. Okay. So when you send out some kind of information, it could be a promo, it could be, an offer, it could be anything that you want to have some kind of return from it, whether it's a message or something else. The basics in marketing is that you need about 6 weeks from the time you send it out till the time that you will get some significant responses. Okay. So that means that there is a 6 week gap. Some things can be faster, obviously, some things can be longer. But that means that if you, let's say, you're doing some kind of marketing strategy, like something you haven't tried yet. Let's say you are a local tutor and you want to, let's say, try to post in Facebook groups to say, hey, I'm in the local area, I'm tutoring, and so on. Now, if you do that for about 2 or 3 weeks and you're like, yeah, but no one is answering and I'm not getting any likes and, I'm getting nothing from it, and then you abandon it, it's too early. Okay. Because people might not see it. There's a million factors that can go into this. So when you start a new, let's say, advertising thing, you need to make sure that you do this at least 6 weeks, but consistently. Okay. So if it's like, okay, well, I want to put flyers in the area or go speak to local businesses and leave my flyer, you have to do this for 6 weeks before you will start to see a return. And 6 weeks is really nothing. Sometimes, it can take much longer. Obviously, it doesn't mean you have to go and see the same business owner every day for 6 weeks, right? But it means that you have to make sure that you do the actions very, very regularly for a certain amount of time, and you need to have the confidence that it will give you something in the end. Okay. So the consistency is not just a couple of weeks and then, well, it didn't work, so, I'm going to abandon it. It might not work. It might be that, if you say, okay, I'm going to try, I don't know, flyers. Okay, let's take that as the example. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to do it for 6 weeks. And then you get nothing left, nothing back. And you might do it for another 4 weeks and there's no return. Okay, fine. You tried it. It was not the way to connect with your audience, with your potential ideal students. So you try something else. But you're going to have to be consistent in the time you're doing it. Okay, I've tried like a million things and some worked and some didn't. But I made sure that I gave it the time to actually let it run and get people, to contact me in the end if it worked, right? And there's actually quite a lot of things that we have to do as a business owner that where you will not see immediate results. You might do this, like you might post every single day for 4 months, I don't know, for a long time without having any immediate return. And that is what sets people apart in businesses, because if you're willing and if you can handle the idea of spending your time and maybe your money to do things in your business where you do not see any return for a long time, sometimes, if you're willing to do that, you will win. Because there are so many people that are not willing to actually do the work that is needed in the business. Okay, so obviously we need to make sure that the things that you do in your business and you are consistent in doing, that it has to be the right things, because there's no point in just continuing doing something that is not what you're supposed to do and what will give you students in the end, right? So first of all, you need to make sure that the things you actually need to concentrate on and you put your efforts into and you put the time into this, that they are the right things. And then secondly, you have to keep doing them, okay? It's like if you're to the point in your business where, let's say, another aspect is follow-up, okay? So you should have, every time someone contacts you, you should note it down, okay? So Joe Blow contacts me on this date and he's interested in this service. I gave him the information and he will think about it. Okay, so now we should do follow-up several, if not every day, several times a week, okay? And this is another subject for another time. But let's say you do that and you continuously do that, like, 3 times a week and whatever. When that thing becomes a little boring, right? Because it's like, okay, it's the same thing as contacting people. Like, how's it going? Can I help you with anything else? And any other questions, blah, blah. That's the time where the way separates for people, okay, for business owners. And I mean, for things in general in life, right? Because they're the ones that it's like, okay, I've done this for so long and it's really boring. And I kind of bored with posting stuff on the internet. And I'm kind of like, ugh, if the people so everybody will feel that at some point, right? So the ones that say, well, I'm just gonna kind of take the foot off the pedal and I'm maybe just going to do it once a week or maybe not at all or whatever, the business starts to shrink right there, okay? The people who say, okay, I'm going to follow up at least half an hour every day, can be just contact 5-6 people, get in touch, how's it going, any changes, you have all your notes, obviously, so you know where to pick up the conversation. Or, okay, I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to prepare a post for every day for next week. The ones that do that, and that continue despite not having seen any real significant return, they are the ones that will continue and grow their business. Because it is the consistency that do this. Okay, I give you an example. I don't know her personally, okay, but it's another business owner, and she was about 2 years ago, something like this. I saw her a lot everywhere on Facebook, and it's like, oh, I'm doing this, and and I actually bought a couple of things from her because I needed it at that time. And I saw her, and it was great, and lots of nice promotions, like, oh, I have added a new thing to my my list of things that she did, and great. And then for 2 years, I didn't see her at all actually pop up in the Facebook groups that I knew that she was in, and so on. And then last week I needed something. She's doing like bespoke gifts, and I needed something like that. And then I'm like, but is she still in business? It's like I haven't seen her anywhere, and I don't know. So then I wrote to her to say, I just want to ask you, are you still in business? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, okay. But my impression was that I wasn't actually sure because I had not seen anything. And, I could easily had, kind of in my mind been thinking, oh, well, I don't see her anymore. So, she's probably doing something else, and I will go and find something else. Okay. Now, I like to support other local businesses. Well, she's not really local to me, but, a small business. And so I took the effort to actually contact her. But it's so easy to kind of, if you stop promoting or stop showing yourself, right? It's like you don't know what people think. So if I, do some efforts in my tutoring business, especially, let's say, just before I start my lessons. So I start obviously the year in September, and because I work with children, but whenever it is, so I'm very busy, in September, in August, and then, like during the holidays and at the end of the school year. Okay, so May, June, definitely from May to September, I'm full on filling my lessons. Okay. But then if I then stop coming 1st of October and nobody hears from me until next May, it's like, okay, is she still doing it? What's happening? But if I'm constantly there, they cannot avoid me, right? They cannot, they're like, okay, now she's doing this now, and it doesn't have to be, anything fancy, right? It's like, I'm doing a whole thing on marketing and what to post every day. And it's actually super easy. I'm doing that in my course, but it's really simple. But people is constantly hearing about me. They know that I'm there, they know I'm in business. They know that, hey, I still have slots open during the year. Okay, now with right at the end of November, and I'm starting a new student next week. Okay, which I got last week. So it's like we always hear. Okay, so do not stop doing things, obviously, that work. So you need to obviously make sure that you put your consistency into the things that work, but you have to be consistent. And that is what sets you aside. And that's why people suddenly, when they need someone, you will be the one they go to because they know you're there. And that you're in business, and that you're not just like, yeah, well, I'll let people come to me, which you can, but it's such an effect to me viewpoint, right? It's like, yeah, I want to cause my own success, right? So I'll do it by being consistent. Okay. So even though it seems boring, even though it seems like, I just had enough of this, because we have to wear all the hats, and I know it's a lot. The things that give you students are the things you need to do consistently. Okay. And if you do not know what they are, let me know and I can help you with it. Okay. And this is also what I teach in my course. But you have to carry on and soldier on, and maybe it will not give you anything for a while, but if you do it, you will, in the end, it's for sure you will get those students that you have kind of silently been working towards indirectly. I did this as a test, really, from May last year, from May till September, really. I decided, okay, I had done some training myself, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to follow this system. And I worked out how to post every single day on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, also LinkedIn, but that was kind of new. But I just decided, okay, I do not have time to do like a million other things, right? So I just decided I'm going to be consistent on that. Do not take 50 billion things and be consistent with everything, because you're not going to do it all, right? It's going to have to, you take one or two things and you're consistent on that. And I decided to do that. So I programmed, even though I was not here, the whole of July and some of August, I programmed before I left. So I had one post going out every single day on Instagram and Facebook, every day. And coming back from holidays, obviously, I was like, okay, now get onto my list of people who have been interested in the past to come and learn English. And I did a bunch of like hyping it all up in end of August and September. And I'm telling you, this year, it was the easiest year I've ever had to fill up my lessons. It was literally like, okay, you want a spot? Yeah, good. Here it is. Contract, good. Payment, good. Someone else contacted me. It's like, oh, I'm interested. I have 2 children. Okay, good. This and this. And I literally I had up to 15 people a day contacting me saying, I'm interested. And these are the conversations then that you turn into your paying customers, right? But it was just, I had been consistent for months before that. And obviously people saw me, and I could see, oh, this person is liking your Facebook page. This person is liking this. I didn't know them and I did not contact them or anything. It was just happening. And then when I then kind of came back and say, okay, so, I still have slots, the spots are open, let me know. People just contacted me and I filled up all my slots and I'm fully booked. Okay. So I know it works. Okay. And I'm teaching this in my Tutor Launchpad Pro, which will come out next year. Okay. So it's just, it's not difficult and it's not hard. You just need to make sure you know what you need to concentrate on and you need to be consistent. Okay. So that's all for now. If you need any help, let me know. Okay. But do be consistent on the things that work, and I'm sure it'll be a success.